financial condition of the affiliate. There were questions that were worded in such a way as to that led me to one of two conclusions. Either they really didn't know about this, and this was the first time they became aware of it, or they had known about it and had decided that maybe it was time for them to end it and appear to be the innocent victim and perhaps come after Alexander Grant's insurance coverage to try to make up some of their losses. At that point, it just became obvious to me that I had to stop the circus, and I had to try to protect the firm as much as possible. I terminated the conversation with Mr. Schiebel. I called the regional director of accounting and auditing of the firm, and at his instructions called the firm in-house counsel, hired local counsel to represent Grant, and advised ESM formally that the audit opinion was being withdrawn and that the financial statements were to be recalled. That weekend, ESM officials called, advised the Federal Reserve of the problem. They advised the market that they were going to have an announcement on Monday, March 4th, and that's when it all came to a head on March 4th, 1985, when it was revealed that ESM was bankrupt, that home state was exposed for the full amount of the Ohio Guarantee Fund's assets, and beyond that, the whole savings and loan crisis ensued. I withdrew from Grant at their request, March 20th, I believe it was. It was a period that's tough for me to recall in detail, because it was not the happiest time of my life. It was a moment of severe depression for me. The SEC was subpoenaing me to appear before their investigative committee, and of course I was not able to say anything, so I pled the fifth several times. During this period of time, my attorney was in contact with the U.S. Attorney's Office, who was handling the case, and they were seeking plea agreements of in excess of 20 years of possible incarceration. It was also obvious that there's no way I could defend myself using any kind of available defense, because for one thing, I didn't have the wherewithal to pay for the attorney to be able to take it to its ultimate conclusion. Number two, I really did not have a very defensible position, regardless of the fact that I did not intend to commit a crime. The fact is that I did. Also, the government was pretty intent on finding aspects of the fraud that did not exist. They were looking for hidden bank accounts, money stashed away in the Bahamas, all the things that glamorize all these big cases. A situation that which did not exist. All of the money that was lost here was lost in the marketplace, or was the interest cost to carry the debt for the losses in the marketplace. So it had mounted to a large number, but it wasn't sitting in anybody's bank account, at least not in the tens of millions of dollars. Yes, the individuals at ESM had personal wealth that they had amassed over a period of years through their compensation. Whether the compensation was justified or not, I don't know, but it was not in the tens of millions of dollars a year. So there was some personal wealth there, but the bulk of the loss was just that it was lost. But the government felt that the money had to be sitting somewhere. The final plea agreement they offered me was one for maximum of 15 years and total cooperation.
The actual charges were 6 counts of wire and mail fraud, 4 counts of grand theft, and 1 count of obstruction of justice.
In '87, I was sentenced to 12 years. The 3-year differential between the 12 and the 15 was the judge's way of recompensing me for my cooperation. And I reported to federal prison March 4th, 1987. Now, prison was an education in itself from many, many levels. First of all, white-collar criminals are not all sent to a country club. The federal government, at least, I can't answer what states do, and I hope never to have to. But at the federal level, they make decisions based on space and time. How much space do they have, and how much time do you have to serve? You don't take your golf clubs, you don't take your tennis racket. And while I never thought about it while I was in the profession, certainly never thought that I'd end up in the federal prison. Anybody out there that thinks it's a picnic, it's not. Yeah, the impact on the family is probably the hardest of everything. Starting out with my wife, who at the time we'd been married for, I'm talking about at the time being 1979 when I first made the decision that I made. We'd been married a little over 9 years. There have not been many things that I haven't shared with my wife in my life. ESM was one of them. I chose not to discuss it with her. I didn't bring it up to her. She was not aware of it. First she became aware of it was in 1984 when Alan Novick died. I made the comment that I could be in trouble. And she didn't understand why. I didn't explain it. I didn't explain it till 85 when, coming home after pulling the financial statements, I sat down and I told her the whole story. My two sons, who were in 85, were 11 and 12, respectively. They had their whole life changed. They went from being the sons of a successful, in their mind, well-to-do individual who lived well and was able to take them on trips and do things for them, to all of a sudden living in a household that faced a father going away for things they didn't understand, and perhaps facing some monetary crisis. I make a living. I'm doing something that I pretty much enjoy to do, which is working with systems and computers, although I do some tax work within the firm. I was, again, very fortunate to find someone that would employ me. He's an ex-partner of mine. He had been a partner at Grant, had withdrawn from Grant. I guess within a year or two of the ESM case, he withdrew and went back to his own practice. He had a need for someone in his office to come in and work basically at a staff level and on tax and accounting, and also help them set up some systems because they were at a point where they needed to advance their computer needs. And just through happenstance, he was aware that I was out and offered me a position. I'm convinced that had that not happened, I was not particularly employable, and I'll be forever loyal and grateful to him for that. I'm still on parole, so I do have some restrictions. The restrictions are largely cosmetic. If I wanted to travel outside the 4-county area that comprises South Florida, I have to ask permission in writing. It's never been denied. I can go anywhere within the United States. I could even go abroad if I had business reasons to go abroad, but it would take a judge's order, but it could be done. I do file a monthly report because mine was a financial crime. I am required to file a financial statement every month with the U.S. Parole Office. They've tried to release me, and the Parole Commission won't let them. Any case that has a large amount of publicity, they're very careful with. If I get an early release, and heaven forbid, I wind up joining Michael Milken and doing something tremendous down the road that's illicit, they don't want the publicity, that they let me go early. Everybody that watches somebody else have something happen to them, the immediate reaction is, how could he be such a fool? How could he let that happen to him? That's never going to happen to me. I have found in the profession, people that I knew in the profession fall in one of two categories. The ones that think I committed a heinous crime, was a fraud to the profession, and are ashamed to admit ever knowing me. And the honest ones that say, there but for the grace of God go I. and have acknowledged to me that they understand what happened and are empathic towards me because of it. Find something you like to do. Not what somebody else wants you to do or what somebody else wants you to be, but what you want to do and what you like to do. Do it well, do it faithfully to yourself, and don't let anybody bully you into acting differently. If one person that gets this tape continues in the accounting profession and reaches an ethical moment and deals with it appropriately, then this is worth doing.